Okay, so I just came from another class where I was lecturing to find some new students, and I couldn't help myself because I had to get some more Trivago ideas. So I'm standing up there and saying to this class of 50 students, I said, so give me your best Trivago idea, and if I like it, I'm going to admit you into the class of 2017, which will be my 10th year teaching this program. So a U.S. Marine raises his hand. His name, Bill McCullen, sir. I said, yeah, Bill. I said, what do you have? He says, I want to start a Trivago for car rental. Car rental, Hertz. And I'm like, hey, I says, that's an obvious one. How come that really never came up in our prior conversations, with the class? It may have come up, but this guy was very adamant about it, that this would work exactly the same way, and that Bill Trivago, as I named him, could actually start a business doing that. And then I poached him on my second favorite idea of the open table idea. Okay? And Lexus was nice enough to be in the room with me, to listen to this. And what do you think the main idea, the first girl who raised her hand, what do you think she said? What was her great Trivago idea? Take a guess.
Beauty services.
Beauty services. Okay, so then I went into how Lexus and Megan, another student in the class, did enormous research. They did surveys on Facebook, took all kinds of time to look into this, and realized that people like to use the same manicurist. And in essence, use the same person to blow their hair. And do that, and that's something that this young lady wasn't really thinking about. But it dawned on her, after thinking about that maybe this is more of a plan B. Your manicurist or your hair person is out and she's blowing hair. And you can't reach that person. But it was the first gal that raised a hand, so clearly it's a good idea. People are thinking about it. It's the idea that they seem to want, but they haven't really thought it through all that clearly. Another student in the class, Lexus, you don't mind if I tell you a little bit about the idea. So I've been emailing with Lexus all week about her idea about her hair extensions in the hair business. And I thought about it, about having various different hair salons or people who sell hair, or maybe anything to do with hair combs, hair things, and have a general marketplace where you can buy anything related to hair. And that's starting to grow on me a little bit, even though it's not an immediate thing. If somebody knows that they can go in almost like Uber style and get their hair extensions done for a certain price, and they can book it right there on the spot, that sounds like maybe something somebody would try, because hair extensions, for the most part, maybe is not something that you do every day, especially if you haven't done them before and you want to get them done for the first time. I would think that price would be a very important component, and that finding the cheaper price to do this would maybe go. So you'll find out some more answers, what people would pay. I think that salons would have to pay a certain fee in order to get the referral, and that's how the model will work, but we're going to find out a little bit more. And Megan and Lexus, did you get a chance to speak to any beauty shops as of yet, or not yet?
I'll call them tomorrow.
Okay, great. So we'll be anxious to hear how that goes. All right. So today we have three speakers, and then we are going to have our guest speaker, a former standout and entrepreneur of the year of the class, will be speaking a little bit later today. So our first speaker today is going to be Svi. Svi, come on up.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about a product that I got into because of college, actually. I noticed that when I was printing stuff for school, it got really expensive. And being I'm an economics student, I wanted to find the most efficient way to print my stuff. So I figured out I can get, Staples, they have these deals where you can get like a ream of paper every so often for free. So I was getting the paper for free, but now I want to figure out how to get the ink for free, or very close to it. So I started looking into ways to refill my own printers. The ink is a little more difficult to do, but I found it pretty easy to do the toner. So I'm going to go through what I did and why I think I can make money doing it. So the name of the company would be Tyne Ink. And basically we refill, print, and save money for corporations. So, okay. And I'm not going to be going after like individuals at home because there's a lot of competition already doing that. You can go to like Costco and refill your ink. You can go to, there's a lot of places. Walgreens does it, and there's online places. So I'm going to be going after schools, big business. And another reason for that is because I can offer something that they can't. These competition is a certain level of service. You know, they're, especially a big corporation, they're not interested in sitting there pulling a bunch of toners and sending it out to somebody, especially since it's not their money. They don't care. But if it's easy for them and I come down to them and do that work and they don't have to worry about it, then they may consider it. You know, like, okay, he just comes in, charges us half the price, and so this is a toner I have experience with. This one I think runs at, last I checked, it was $45.69. I currently refill this for $2.50, to give you an idea.
Wow.
And here's my page count as of 2 weeks ago. I printed on the same toner 8,000, that's 8,510 pages for $2 for every 2,000 pages about, to give you an idea what the markup is and something like that. If you look at the commercial stuff, or the stuff that like schools are using, here's the prices. So 3 color would cost you around $261. Black would cost you $90, more than the printer. So the most expensive part of a printer is the ink. Yeah, this would be like one of the printers that you'd see in like a school, and I'm sure they don't pay quite that much because they probably have some sort of contract or deal with whoever it is, but they're still paying a hefty sum. So one of my biggest concern was printing is dead. You know, like we use tablets for everything, and we really don't. First of all, I like to still have a paper in my hand. So I find, there's something still to paper, but that's another reason I would like to go after schools and banks, because they still have to print contracts, they still have to print certain things they still have to print. And I did some research on printing. It actually is still alive. Here's an idea of the competition actually. So you can get 5 refill toners for $59.99. Give you an idea, they're pretty competitive. They've gotten pretty competitive, but it's not original manufacturer, and you have to ship it to them, or you have to order it and wait for it to come in, and you have to worry about that it works, that it's reliable. Here you have somebody coming in, taking care of all that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But so I did some research on Google, and there was some decent amount of hits. India is the biggest for toner and toner refill, but the United States still has a decent amount of people who are interested. There's also a company, I forgot where they're located. I think it's in the UK, that does research on this kind of stuff, and they say that there's a huge market. I was looking at some of the numbers, billions and billions of dollars for ink. So there's definitely a big market for that.
How are you doing this? The class is more amazed by this PowerPoint. How are you doing this in the background? Are you an expert at PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually,
This looks like you could be a Hollywood movie maker with what I'm looking at here.
Yeah. So there's billions of dollars in this industry, and even if I get a small percentage, if you think about it, let's say a school like this, I'm sure they have at least 500 printers on campus, and if I get $20 every 3 months for 500 printers, I come in
I
here.
think we should approach him with it.
Yeah, I spoke to the chair of the business department about it, and he thought it was a good idea. I don't see why they wouldn't want to save
Good,
money.
let's push him. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, this was just the chart I found that was down for a while printing, and then it came back up. So my marketing would be a little bit different than regular marketing because of what I'm offering. Like I can't just like put it up and people are going to grab it. I have to really go to the customer and show them what I can offer. So I'll probably do things where I'm offering them first month free. Try out my product and see how it works. And I'd really have to go to each place, and eventually, hopefully, word of mouth would really spread it. But I don't think standard, regular advertising would work, in a product like this. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. How many of you spend a lot of money on cartridges here? How many of you have ever experienced a used cartridge refill that didn't work quite properly and get the ink all over your
Talking to someone that owns a business, office equipment sales. That's a market, I'll tell you right now. cost effectiveness of going into that market, I offer it as a service to my clients. When you go to them, you're paying for the technician to go there, you're paying for the time the technician takes to refill it. I don't know if you've done the cost analysis, but that hourly rate that you'll pay the technician, and they have to be qualified to do that obviously, will most likely outperform like the price of buying a new cartridge. That's why the other companies ask you to ship it in, because it's cheaper for them to line up a bunch of cartridges to put the machine on and refill.
Right.
Unless obviously you do a school like Brooklyn College
Right.
where you send 1 or 2 techs and they do all of it. The second thing that I was going to say is you're going for a very small niche, because you're going to mainly go for inkjet printers.
I'd actually go more for toner. Toner's much bigger.
Toner, but the big commercial printers that I sell for most medium-sized businesses, they have a powder printer filled with powder, and the powder screws in and it's heated up, and then it's
That's what I refill. I use that at home.
okay.
Yeah. I buy the milk cartons this big.
Right.
It's powder and
I'd recommend great idea. I love it, and if you can find a way to make it cost effective, by all means, we can partner up on that. But I've looked into it, and for me, it doesn't work out.
Right, so the idea behind it would be that you're going after a school that has all the same kind of printers, right? So you know what you're getting into, because part of the cost is, when they come out with a new printer, they change the mechanism, how you refill it, how you trick the printer into thinking it's full. I mean, some printers requires a chip, some require resetting the gear. So the idea is you go into a place like here where they're using all the same printer, you already know how it works, you've done the research, and you get guys that are experienced and you're knocking them out really quickly. It takes me, once I started doing it, under 5 minutes, the whole thing. So think about it, if it takes me 5 minutes, even if I pay a tech, if he's doing 20, 30 of them an hour, I don't see why you can't be cost effective.
Yeah.
As long as you're going after the same kind of printers and an area that's small that has a lot of them in it, so office buildings and
This school's got a bunch of different printers. Like I know they're
right. They have a few different ones, but they're mostly HPs. I've noticed mostly HPs. So and they're definitely you can refill.
Yeah. Okay, no, good idea. Yeah, I would take that up with the school, and they've been very kind to students from this program. I mean, that's what this is all about. So I urge you to try to get in there. We had a student last year that was selling chocolates, handmade chocolates. I told her go into the school store and start selling them there. And the president made a few telephone calls, and I think she's in other CUNY schools as well, and that's what this is about. We're here to make money. We're not here to look pretty. Okay, talking about pretty, I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce somebody in this class who's been here all semester, and that's my beautiful wife, Sarah, in the background. Sarah helps walk your papers that we're going to be going over diligently on your selling days. Hopefully you're all going to have your homeworks up to date, and we're going to sit down and go through them, because writing and communication skills is vital in business. It's really a very critical component, and while we don't really we're not sticklers for the grammar, because everybody has their own writing skills, the communicating skills are very, very important, All right, very good. So next we are going to hear from Jordan.
So I just want to keep, I want to just let everyone know that to keep in mind that this is still an idea in the making. Anyone who knows me or has seen me in here knows that I love coffee. I almost bring it in like every single day, Someone commented, that's a big coffee cup. I'm also someone who deals with a lot of anxiety, so I figured why not combine the two, see what I can do with it. I got this idea actually from my hometown. I got the idea from a lot of different places actually, but specifically from hometown because they actually had a tea store that just opened up that had yoga, meditation, and a whole bunch of different things in it. And I noticed that a lot of times that they do this with tea specifically, but never coffee, because tea is kind of seen as like a sit down, enjoy type of thing, but no one does that with coffee. Coffee is always on the go. So I was like, well, why don't we do that with coffee? Coffee relaxes me. I love the aroma. I love the taste. Why don't we just sit down? A lot of people in Europe do it. So I was like, why not bring it over here? So I came up with the idea called Coffee Mind. My mission statement is to provide the best customer service and to create a stress-free atmosphere that will bring peace of mind to all who enter, to be a small escape from busy lives. We want to enhance the mind, body, and spirit by combining coffee drinking with other mind-stimulating activities that are proven to help you think better and perform better. I want to create a stress-free environment. Positivity is the mindset that I want to help you get. Stress, judgment-free atmosphere, enjoy coffee with friends or alone. In this place, you will have a room of your choice. You can have a social relaxation room where you can bring your friends, family. There will be a yoga room, meditation room, possibly a smoking room, and I will get to that in a second. The lighting, music, sounds, furniture, and colors of each room will set the mood depending on where you are. And my employees will be friendly and courteous, and they won't make you feel rushed, and will always happily fix your issues. Coffee benefits include improved cognitive function, concentration, alertness, decreased risk of depression, protection against some diseases, and it gives you a multi-sensory experience. When it comes to competition, Coffee Mine is unique and like no other because it's not meant to be on-the-go coffee, and it's not your typical usual sit-down spot. You know, in Starbucks, it's kind of loud. Sometimes there's music. It can be noisy. Most people are just on their computers all the time. It's a typical coffee shop. Although we don't offer a huge variety of drinks like Starbucks, my prime focus is on the quality of the coffee, specifically our Arabica coffee beans, as well as our services. Arabica coffee beans do not have a huge high caffeine content, so it won't cause jitteriness, but it has great taste, great flavor. It's one of the best coffee beans in the world. We offer other services, of course, such as yoga and meditation, and we give you the choice to be social or to use that time in another room to ease and refresh your mind. What else is great? We'll have free Wi-Fi for the social room. Yoga meditation rooms are soundproof. My coffee will be organic, free trade coffee, and I'll also have light snacks. It'll be light, medium, and dark roast with espresso as well. It's an environmentally friendly place, so we'll use only glass cups and mugs. If you must take it to go, which I don't recommend, you would have to bring your own travel mug. Every coffee purchase, I want to donate 5% to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. Half price refills of regular coffee when you stay. My future ideas is to add tea for those who really do not like coffee. I don't want to exclude those from enjoying the experience that I want to give here. And the smoking room would be a marijuana room, specifically for medicinal use. Until later, maybe if it's legally used as a recreational use, it'll be specifically if it's proven scientifically that there's a lot of benefits more than negative aspects of it and its popularity use. Those are my references. Also, my target market is mostly for the upper middle class families. Specifically, I want to open it on Long Island. So it would be mostly middle-aged people and above, although of course young users can use it. I also feel like specifically in Long Island, Suffolk County actually, there's a high issue with mental illness out there. And we have a lot of rehabilitation centers out there. I think it's due to so much anxiety and depression, people end up going into drug use. And I think there should be another place where people can go outside of home, outside of work. There's a lot of big coffee drinkers out there, and I think it's a good place to just come and drink your coffee and just to relax your mind and just be you, pretty much.
Any questions? Steven,
Yeah.
question?
I have a couple of questions. I think you're losing out on a huge part of the market share by not offering on the go. Even though it's environmentally friendly, like there's a lot of on the go environmentally friendly.
There is on the go if you bring a travel coffee mug, yeah.
In addition to that, I think you benefit from like the Century Center's business model by during the day, let's say offering private rooms instead of just for meditation or smoking or whatever, also for business meetings, so that people can have their privacy to have a business meeting and you can profit a lot off of that.
I specifically just didn't want it to like join into work. I don't want that
Oh,
to
you
be
want
brought
complete
into the
separation?
atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah, and what about, I'd recommend you look into theanine. It's a supplement that
Do you need?
pairs well with coffee, and it actually, so coffee makes you jittery. Theanine pairs with caffeine chemically and creates a clear mental focus, so maybe a cool like scientific cocktail.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not like a drug, it's just over the counter like inviting me.
Yeah, I didn't know about it, so I'll definitely check it out. Thank you.
All right, very good. Nice idea. Okay, before we have our last student speaker of the year, I'm going to pass around the attendance sheet. This is going to be a little different than prior attendance sheets because you're going to mark down the selling times that you're going to be available to sell our merchandise that we're going to be buying next week or your own merchandise that you think that you're going to sell. Okay, whether that be cookies or other creative things. Over the last 10 years, there's been a lot of creative things. People have gone to Trader Joe's and repackaged their phenomenal chocolate chip cookies and sold them for $1 a package, and they were making tremendous profits on some of these things. So you can be creative as you want, but the main thing is that you're gonna, if you're working at our jewelry stand, that there's 2 times, 10 to 1 or 1 to 4. So I'd like you, as you put your name down, to put down the selling time so I don't have to go back and forth with you. And you can change it, and if you have a class in between and you want to work a little bit afterwards, that's okay too, but the selling days, to me, is the most critical part of this entire experience that you're having. So put that down and we'll take it from there. Okay, so our last speaker will be Aaron Roswell. Let's hear from Aaron.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aaron Roswell, and today I will be pitching my idea. Can you guys see this? Seems like it's kind of... Are you guys able to see?
Sure.
Okay. So the name of my company will be Roselle Records, and it's kind of a spin-off of my last name. And it's also a name I go by when I delve into like my music, my songwriting career, and that sort of thing. So if you notice, I have a couple of words displayed throughout the screen. I have respect, spirituality, creativity, transition, aggression, motivation, money, inspiration, strength, passion, music, power. All of these words basically define the type of person I am and where I come from and what my dreams, I guess I can say like where my dreams are heading towards. So basically, the way around it, it's in long term, it'll be a recording. I want to have my own record label. So the record label will be called Roselle Records, but that's probably won't happen until like 10, 15 years from now. So what I want to do now is pursue a songwriting career for singers, rappers, basically anybody that's into music. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar, but a lot of people, a lot of artists in this industry, they don't write their own material. And I'm very big on authenticity and being able to produce things that you're passionate about and that comes from yourself. So that's something I definitely am going to incorporate in my business. So I'm going to switch over to the next slide now. Okay. So the name of this slide is Produce It, Use It, and Make It Exclusive. So this will be like my tagline or slogan, I guess you could say. And we're in the business of, like I said, authenticity, originality. In the event that any of you guys are an artist or entertainer, you know, as I said before, a lot of these artists, like, you know, they only look good on camera, you know, or they just might be marketable. They don't have the skill or the talent to actually write their own music. So this is where I would come in. This is where my team would also come in. So as a songwriter, I can speak for myself. I've been writing music basically my entire life since I've been like 5, 6. But initially it started off as poetry, and then as I grew up, it transitioned into rapping, into me just writing music and writing songs. And I haven't really sold any of my music to anybody per se, but what I have been doing throughout the years is just, I know a couple of females that sing, you know, I know a couple of guys that rap and vice versa, and I'll just, okay, we're cool, I'll just give it to them free of charge, which is something I shouldn't do because this is my work that I'm writing, but I feel like the mere fact that they believe in my work to produce it as their own, I feel like that speaks volume on me. So, you know, I call it all joy. At the end of the day, if they do make it big or if they make it to that level, they'll remember that I got their song started or I was the one that provided that material for their first song. In addition to that, okay, it was supposed to, I guess never mind, I didn't do it correctly. Okay, so the next slide is expenses are expensive. And I feel like all you guys can attest to that as far as entrepreneurs. So the studio time, as far as the sessions, it will be $500 weekly. For the music production, now it'll be $300 plus weekly. And as far as any other miscellaneous fees, as far as traveling fees, and any other fees that might be associated with that. But basically, if I want to have a location in New York City within the 5 boroughs, but eventually I'll branch out from there and go state to state. But I want to have it to where so I can provide assistance to artists that are underground and on the come up, I guess you can say. So I have a couple that I'm working with. I'm not going to really put their names out there, but I have written some material for them. And they're no longer in New York City. Like, they moved to Miami, Atlanta, LA. So it's really hard for me to get my material to them, because oftentimes when I write my material, I like to have the person I'm working with right next to me, so I can be like, okay, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like this can bring out what you're really trying to portray in your music? It's the feel. This is something that you're passionate about. So with that said, it's kind of hard to do it nationally. So what I'm gonna do is see if I can try to incorporate a specific amount of funds set aside. I just started working again, and I'm gonna start putting funds towards that. So just in the event that I have someone that I used to work for before, they want to come back to New York City and they say, hey, I haven't really found any good songwriters out where I'm at now, but I want to come back to New York City. Like, can we link up? Can we do music? And I'm gonna be like, okay, we can set up a time, set up a schedule, and I'm gonna provide them with that opportunity again, because my work is authentic, and I want that to be reflected in any song that they do and any song that they are passionate about. And I really want them to take my business serious. Again, long term, I'm thinking about making this into a record label. I'm gonna have a team of songwriters like myself. I'm gonna have a team of ghostwriters. I'm gonna have a team of poets, because I feel like poetry is still music if you think about it. It's lyrics, it's passion, it's love, it's pain, it's all of that, So I really want this to be reflected in my business. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just gonna give you guys a sample of what I've been doing. I'm writing this song for this female singer. I know I don't have much time.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's a portable music player, okay? So I'm writing this song for her. I have the hook and everything, but she only sent me the hook last minute, so I'm just gonna play that briefly, because I know I don't have much time. Okay.
I thought love was a waste of time, but I can't get you out of my mind. I've never felt the feeling so fine, and I can't wait for you to be mine. So hurry up and come back home. I wanna be the one that turns you on. I just wanna hold you as I make you moan. Be the only reason you turn up your phone.
She kind of messed up it towards the end, and it was a last minute thing I asked her to do. And I have to have the song. I have because I don't know if you guys are familiar with as far as buying beats, but you have the option of either just renting it or leasing it. So I actually purchased the song itself, and I'm selling it to her. And I am writing the hook and the chorus for the song. I just wrote that hook, and I have that. So she's practicing on that, and that's what she just sent me. And I'm also going to give you guys a quick sample of my own work that has my voice recorded on it.
And I must admit, I got this little crush on you. I feel like you the shit, but you don't even know it. You know that you a boss, you don't even have to show it. You open up my doors, I'm thinking how do I close it? Only for a moment, first you gotta own it. Show me that you own it. When I push up on it, the flirting I condone it. The way I feel for you, doctors couldn't clone it. It's like I'm popping mollies for that ecstasy. You know that feeling when you next to me. I need you holding me, caring and consoling me. I need you close to me, just how it's supposed to be. Feelings controlling me, feelings taking over me. Happen uncontrollably, happens when you notice me. You got me feeling Jodeci, wanna give you more of I tatted rosaries, making flowers bloom. Sorta like a rosary, was like a quiet room. Whenever you spoke to me, I mean, I was just hoping we'd be more than we're friends to be. Probably be the end of me. Say that you're more than just a friend to me. Not just what you pretend to be. That good feeling you left in me. Notion is offending me. Motion never meant to me. The messages you sending me. How am I to feel? At times I wanna kiss you, other times I wanna chill. Question on you still. Try to fight it off, but I can't help but keep it real. Crossing over boundaries, I thought I had a shield. Protection from my heart.
And I'm gonna stop it there because I know
Okey-doke.
time is up.
Great job. Fantastic.
Any comments?
Any questions, comments?
I'm still formulating ideas. If you guys have any advice or anything, I'm open to that.
So I'll talk a little bit about the music business and then we have to move on. But the music business is a very, very tough business, especially on the songwriting end of it. But once you do get into the graces of somebody, you know, like an Adele or somebody like Ryan Tedder, who we've talked about from One Republic, who's written a lot of songs for a lot of different people. It didn't happen by accident, you know. He went out there and met the right people and had to write the right song. Because as Aaron says, these people don't write their own songs for the most part. Okay, it sounds like it. When you listen to Justin Bieber's Sorry song, it's like custom made just for him. You're thinking of Selena, like everything's like so perfect, right? No, it's written by somebody else altogether, but he made it his own music. So I won't belabor the point. Difficult business to get into. Need to work your music through nightclubs, through clubs and DJs to keep playing it, because in order to get a hook remembered in your mind, they have to hear your song at least 7 times. Okay? Why 7? I don't know, but that's the number. Okay? Good job. Maybe we did save the best for last. Very, very exciting. Okay, our guest speaker today was the winner of the Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 2014. This young man, who I think is one of the better students we've ever had in this program, showed me his commitment to the program, so much so that I felt that I had to introduce him to one of our guest speakers that he really wanted to meet, a fellow named Anthony Scaramucci, who runs the Skybridge Hedge Funds, who was a guest lecturer in this class, who actually is on the school website, so you can take a look and see what Anthony Scaramucci. He's also the host of Wall Street Week, which is on Fox Business every Saturday morning. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Jerome Hayden.
First of all, that was a really cool speaker, man. I like that thing with the water kicking. So that's pretty cool. But thanks so much for allowing me to come here and speak to you guys today. It's truly an honor. I was actually sitting in that seat 2 years ago, just listening to the different speakers that come throughout the class, and you really get inspired by the amount of creativity that's out there. And you know, the main thing about business is that once you're confident and once you have the right opportunity set out there, you can really, make a lot of money trying to solve the world's problems. So I'm gonna go through my background, how I got to where I am now, and if you have any questions for me, I'd love to make it interactive and help out any way I can. So I started school here in 2011. I played on the basketball team for 2 years, and once I got to my second year, it might have been after I got dunked on in practice, I realized I wasn't going to go to the NBA. I need to find out what I'm going to do after school for myself to make a living, hopefully someday run my own business and provide for my family. So I started really, checking out different resources, using the Magna Center. I know some people say they aren't that helpful, but literally, if you can find one person that's willing to talk to and willing to encourage you, that can really, take you a long way. So they told me there was one of those seminars during common hours that Teb was going to speak about the entrepreneurship program, and I should check it out. So I went. I really loved what he had to say. It gave me a lot of confidence that even though I didn't have a great idea at the time to try and make money, all it takes is to just listen to various people's experiences, and hopefully that can help mold you and take you far along in life. So I enrolled in the program, and I was luckily accepted, and on the weekends I used to go through the videos and see previous speakers that come in, and he really gets some really powerful and dynamic influencers in the world to come in and speak. And when I saw Anthony's presentation, and I was like, wow, how do I get into finance? How do I get into hedge funds? And how many people out here think that you have a business that you can run either right now or right after college? Anybody? Cool. What business do you have in mind?
I presented it earlier this semester. It's an application based on shipping.
Cool. Yeah. So,
I sell heavy duty office equipment.
heavy duty office equipment?
Printers, copiers, faxers, shredders.
And you're doing that now?
Yeah.
Nice. So the one thing that I was concerned about in the class is that after school, how can I run a business? I can't run a business if I don't have the foundation. One of the most common things that hurt entrepreneurs after they try and embark upon a certain endeavor is they don't have the economics right about the business to sustain themselves, or they just don't know how to influence it and move people to a certain destination. So I saw Anthony's presentation. I said I want to work for his firm because it sounds like it's an entrepreneurial firm. I get to see how businesses run from scratch and how he continues to build his network, because that is the most important thing in business, is to have that network that you can rely on TED. If there's a new play out there that's gonna win big, you don't ever know, but as long as you have different ideas out there and you have the network that will call on you to say, hey, I have this idea, Jerome, I have this idea, I need some new toners, how do I get moving on it? Then that's what's really gonna take you to that next level and maintain those relationships. So I started working for Skybridge last year in the fall, and I interned while coming to school full time. And you start off very small. I started off doing all of the manual labor, running to go get coffees, dropping off FedEx packages. And then what you start to realize is that once you are faithful and once you have a great attitude and do the small things with a smile on your face, they start to give you more responsibility, right? So after you get more responsibility, then you really start to engross yourself into the atmosphere, and people really start to trust you and say, okay, this is the person that I want to invest in. Because if I ask you to go get me a coffee, you can either tell me to shut up or go do it yourself, or you can do it with a smile on your face and say, I'm glad to, here's your change, sir. So once somebody sees that you have the great attitude and they can invest in you, that's what that's essentially how you can move forward in terms of either working under somebody and working your way up a firm, or you can build your business and then encourage people to help you get to your destination. So as soon as the spring semester started of my senior year, Anthony called me into his office. He said, Jerome, he had Scott Walker in his office, one of the guys in the political scene. He said, I'm going to give this kid an offer once he graduates school. He's a great worker. He does everything with a smile on his face. And this is the kind of people we want at Skybridge. So there's two myths about finance or even in businesses, that you have to come out of school knowing exactly what they do or know exactly about the industry that you're working in. If they see that you have a great attitude, they're willing to teach, right? So as long as you ask the right questions, you do your own due diligence outside of work or outside of school, then you get to, people help you get to understand what it is you're doing. Two is that you have to have a high GPA, right? So I came into school, I was caring about basketball the whole time. I used to go to the rec center throughout the day. I did go to class, but I was a solid B student my first 2 years. And then, towards the end of my college experience, I'm like, man, I gotta compete with guys coming from Harvard. I gotta compete with guys coming from MIT. I gotta get this GPA up. But what I realized is that, even though you may not have the 3.9, the 4s to compete with some of the most, intelligent people out there. It's like, if you have that right attitude and you have the right mindset, and the guy said if you're completely persistent about what you're doing, then it levels the playing field and you're really able to, stay on that same level as everybody else out there in the world. So don't be discouraged wherever you come from. There's tons of resources at Brooklyn College, guys like Ted, guys like Marty Sass, that are willing to connect you with the right people out there, that are willing to help you start your business, but just have the great attitude. Really stay connected with the guys that support you, and don't forget about them wherever it is you go, right? So I mean, I'm at the firm now full time. I manage the whole, well, I don't manage, I help run the Northeast and Southeast territory from a sales and distribution standpoint. And I have 5,000 clients under my arms, and right now I'm just trying to learn each and every way I can, build my network, and that's where I'm at today. So if anybody has any questions, whether it's about school, whether it's about finance, whether it's about ideas in regards to entrepreneurship, happy to discuss.
Come on, we have to have some questions for Jerome.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, what other resources would you recommend aside from the Magnet Center and Target Professors?
There's tons of networking opportunities out there, right? So if you Google networking events, they'll give you a stream of certain activities, especially in New York City. There's always something going on, whether it's at a, actually, let me go back. The Magnet Center will connect you with networking events, right? So they have these conferences and these seminars that take place all throughout in any given industry. And once you get word of what's going on out there, and once you have a Google search going, attend as many events as you can, right? And it doesn't matter if you're interested in that industry or not. Maybe somebody else that's going is connected to another industry that you may be interested in. So I'd advise really finding any networking opportunities that are out there, and just showing your face. If you stay home and sit behind a computer, don't meet people, then it's not going to help you forge relationships that'll take you there. So, yep.
I have a follow-up question with that. What should you bring with you on these networking events?
Right, so you always want to be prepared, right? I mean, I think there are certain websites out there that help you build your own business card, and it's really not expensive. Like a person like you that is interested in music and it's extremely competitive, it's all about having your name out there, right? So as long as you carry a stack of business cards with you at all times, with your email, with your logo, and people see that logo and can connect to you, then that'll help you, get your name out there and network and all the things like as well.
Professor said that you work for Fox.
Oh no, Anthony has a show that's run on Fox.
Oh, okay, got it. I thought, okay, sorry.
No, I don't. I would have shown you. Actually, I've seen you around campus before too. So
me?
Yeah, it's great. Oh. It's great to see some familiar faces. Yeah. Cool. Anybody else? And by the way, we actually use a ton of toner out there. So I'm actually one of the guys that changes the toner whenever I see it's low. We do have the larger printers, but the small printer, I was changing that yesterday. Cool, man.
Very good. So,
yeah.
I'll just take 2 minutes of your time. I just want to make sure that we have the attendance sheet. Has everybody marked down their times? Could you just pass it up, fill it out, please, because we're not going to have much more time. Next week, we meet for our buying trip. Okay? How many of you are going to be on this buying trip next week? Okay, great. All right. It is an important trip because you're going to get to see where you buy wholesale merchandise, and the whole fundamentals of business happens in this 3 or 4 block radius that we're going to go to. All right, so I will be there at 10 o'clock. We're going to go to Paramount Party Suppliers, which has been a real good friend of this class. And what's really exciting about going there this year, this is going to be the last year that we're going to be able to go to his shop, because he sold his building for a lot of money, and he's going to talk about that. So being at the right place at the right time. He was selling party supplies, I think it's 4th generation. So they've owned this building since the 1920s. So the fact that you can go there, learn all about party supplies, all about holidays, how much money he makes, which holidays are the best. It's a very exciting business. I love it because it's something different every week. It's going to come up to Cinco de Mayo is in a couple of weeks, and it's one of his big holidays. I wouldn't think it's a big one, but it is. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes playing you Anthony Scaramucci's presentation to our class.